a soft invitation into the unknown. If everything you are, your memories, choices, fears, existed somewhere else slightly different, would you know? Would you feel it? And if 1,000 versions of you made different decisions, which one is truly you? Then ask, where are you listening from tonight and what time is it there? Every decision spawns a new universe. What if every what if actually happens somewhere? You wake up late one morning and miss the bus. A small inconvenience. But in that moment, a choice ripples through your life. You call in sick. Your day changes. A meeting is missed. A conversation never happens. A future subtly shifts. Now imagine this. In another version of reality just beyond your reach, you didn't miss the bus. You made it by seconds. You sat next to someone who changed your career. Or your life. According to the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, this isn't just imagination. It's happening. Right now. Every choice, every possible outcome, splits reality into branches. Not metaphorically. Literally. Every moment creates countless versions of you. Living, deciding, existing across parallel universes that will never meet. This isn't science fiction. It was proposed seriously by physicist Hugh Everett in the 1950s. He looked at the strange world of quantum mechanics, the world where particles exist in multiple states at once, and asked a simple, terrifying question. What if all of those states actually happen? What if, instead of collapsing into one outcome, the universe just forks? In one world, you're asleep right now. In another, you're wide awake. In one, you never started this video. In another, you never found it at all. It means reality isn't a straight line. It's an infinite, ever-branching tree. Every possibility lives somewhere. Every regret, every wish, every what. Somewhere out there, some version of you never gave up. Some version of you made the call. Took the risk. Chose differently. It's a comforting idea. And a haunting one. Because it means you are both everything you've done and everything you haven't. As your eyes begin to soften and your thoughts drift deeper, ask yourself this. If every version of you exists out there, then which one are you? And who's asking the question? Let's move gently forward, into the places where realities blur. What causes one version of reality to become real, and the others to softly disappear? Imagine you're standing at a fork in a forest path. One trail winds left into deep shadow. The other bends right toward sunlight. You pause for a moment, uncertain. And in that moment, reality itself wavers. In quantum physics, this isn't just metaphor. It's the essence of how things unfold. At the tiniest scale, particles don't behave like tiny marbles. They act more like waves of possibility. A single particle can exist in multiple places at once, doing multiple things at the same time. Until, somehow, one version of that particle becomes the version. The others simply vanish. This strange shift is known as quantum decoherence. A soft, almost invisible process where a cloud of possibilities quietly collapses into the reality we experience. Before decoherence, reality is like a dream. Not yet fixed, not yet chosen. But the moment something is observed or interacts with its environment, all the other possibilities slip away. One path becomes real. The rest are lost to silence. But here's where it gets even stranger. Some scientists suggest those lost versions of reality don't actually disappear. Instead, they quietly unfold in other universes, parallel worlds where the particle took a different path, where the coin landed tails instead of heads, where you turned left instead of right. So what causes this split? What draws one version into clarity and lets the others dissolve? It's not just human observation. Decoherence can happen when a particle so much as interacts with a stray photon, or the air around it, or a dust grain drifting in the void. It's as if the universe is constantly choosing moment by moment which story to continue, and which to let fade away. But what if these aren't choices at all? What if every option is explored, just not by you? As you close your eyes tonight, consider this gentle question. How many versions of your life softly slipped away while you hesitated? And in those branching realities, are other versions of you quietly living out paths you never walked? Let's drift forward now, deeper into the gentle chaos of timelines, and the fragile threads that decide what becomes real. You remember it clearly. Maybe it was the moment you saw the Monopoly man with a monocle. Or you distinctly recall hearing that Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 1980s, only to later find out he didn't. Maybe it was the Berenstain Bears, not Berenstain, and you'd bet your last breath on it. But the world gently insists you're wrong. Welcome to the Mandela Effect. A strange, collective twisting of memory where entire groups of people remember the same thing, incorrectly. The name comes from the odd phenomenon where thousands of people around the world remembered Nelson Mandela dying decades before he actually passed away. Not just vague memories, but detailed recollections of news reports, reactions, even the funeral. At first glance, it seems harmless, quirky brain glitches, the kind that psychologists explain away with ease. They'll say it's just a product of faulty memory, shared cultural assumptions, or the mind filling in gaps. And perhaps that's all it is. But then the memories get eerier. Specific logos that changed without warning. Movie quotes you know by heart, suddenly rewritten. Famous lines that were never actually said. It starts to feel like something deeper, like reality itself has shifted, ever so slightly, just out of view. Some believe it's proof of alternate timelines. That somewhere, somehow we've slipped just a little, to the left or the right of the path we were on. And the memory glitches, echoes from the timeline we left behind. Others whisper about the idea of overlapping universes, parallel realities brushing against ours, creating ripples in what we thought was certain. If our universe isn't the only one, if infinite versions of reality exist side by side, then perhaps we occasionally remember something that happened somewhere else. Somewhere close. Somewhere just enough like here but not quite. The unsettling part is this. How would you know if you were no longer in the timeline you started in? If one day something small shifted, a cereal box, a movie quote, a world event, and you simply didn't notice the moment everything changed? And if your memories no longer match the world around you, which one is wrong? The past or your mind? As you settle into the quiet of sleep, let this idea drift through you. What if memory isn't just a tool for recalling the past, but a soft tether to where you once were? And if that tether ever frays, how many versions of you might already be wondering the same thing? Let's continue. The next question is even stranger. Imagine sitting in a quiet room. In front of you, a simple device. A quantum trigger connected to a gun. You can't see the quantum particle inside it, but the rules are simple. If it spins one way, the gun fires. If it spins the other way, it doesn't. You press the button. Nothing happens. You breathe. Try again. Still alive. Now imagine doing this again, and again, and again. Every time the quantum particle randomly chooses its state, and every time you're still here, watching, breathing, living. But according to the rules of quantum mechanics, specifically the many worlds interpretation, each time you press that button, the universe splits. In one version, the gun fires. In another, it doesn't. And the version of you that survives is the one who keeps observing. Over and over again. This is the unsettling heart of the quantum suicide thought experiment. Unlike classical death, where the story ends, this idea suggests that your conscious experience might never end, from your own perspective. Every time death becomes a possible outcome, you simply don't experience it. Somewhere, some version of you survives always. To you, it feels like you're beating impossible odds. But to the other versions, the ones where things went differently, you're already gone. It's a haunting idea. Not just because it reshapes our understanding of death, but because it forces us to ask, what does it mean to be you? The countless versions of you exist across branching timelines. Which one is real? And what if, in some quiet corner of the multiverse, there's a version of you that never stops surviving, trapped in a string of near-deaths, forever watching the coin land the right way. The quantum suicide paradox doesn't suggest you're immortal in the traditional sense. But it does whisper something deeply strange, that your consciousness may only ever witness the timelines where it continues. And if that's true, how would you ever know when your final version is the final one? As you sink gently into sleep, let that thought float with you. In a universe where every outcome happens somewhere, are you the survivor simply because you're still here? Let's move deeper now into the strange and silent forest of paradoxes that shape our sense of what's real. Imagine two wind chimes, one in your room, one in a distant, silent valley far beyond the mountains. You strike one gently and somehow, impossibly, the other begins to sway. Not because of sound or wind, but because, in some hidden way, the two are quietly connected. Now replace those chimes with entire universes. This is the softly mind-bending idea behind Entangled Universes, a possibility whispered by some physicists trying to understand quantum entanglement on a cosmic scale. In quantum mechanics, two particles can become so deeply linked that the state of one instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance, because it defies every classical understanding of space and time. But what if this strange bond doesn't stop with particles? Some theorists suggest that entire parallel universes, existing alongside our own, silent and unseen, might also be entangled. Linked not by roads or tunnels but by something quieter, more fundamental. A shared quantum thread woven through the very nature of reality. Imagine, every time a decision is made, every time a particle shifts or a moment unfolds, the universe branches. Splits. Copies. In one version you turn left. In another, right. In one you fall in love. In another, you never meet. And in all of them you're real. Slightly different, but real. Now imagine that across those branches, in the silence between worlds, there's still a gentle connection. A subtle thread. You feel déjà vu, an echo of a choice not made. You dream of places you've never been. You feel lost for something you can't name. What if these moments are ripples? Tiny entangled flickers between universes, brushing softly against one another. There's no proof. No equation that ties it up in a neat bow. But quantum theory suggests that entanglement is real, and the cosmos has never been known for staying small. So as you close your eyes and drift gently toward sleep, ask yourself, if entire universes are connected in ways we can't see, could some part of you still feel the pulse of another self, living out another path, somewhere else? And if the veil between worlds is so thin, could you already be brushing up against it? Imagine for a moment that you're walking through a hallway lined with doors. Behind each one lies a different version of the universe. In one, gravity might be slightly stronger. In another, stars burn cold and blue. In yet another, you were never born. And in some, things feel exactly the same, until they don't. This isn't science fiction. It's one of the most serious and quietly unsettling ideas in modern cosmology, the Multiverse Hypothesis. According to some versions of this theory, our universe, the one you know with its galaxies, atoms and laws of physics, might be just a single bubble in an endless cosmic foam. A kind of quiet cosmic sea, where new universes are constantly forming like bubbles boiling in an infinite pot. Each one with its own rules, its own structure, its own beginning. Some might be lifeless, silent, collapsing seconds after they form. Others might teem with unfamiliar stars and unimaginable matter. And some might look eerily like ours. This idea gains support from the theory of eternal inflation, a proposed model of the Big Bang that suggests space didn't just expand once, but continues to do so in places eternally. In those endlessly inflating regions, new pocket universes bubble into being, all governed by different quantum outcomes. And quantum mechanics, already strange in its own right, whispers of branching realities where every possibility becomes real, somewhere. Every decision you make, every coin flip, every moment, may split the universe into countless quiet branches. So here's the haunting thought. If there are infinite universes, with infinite variations, does that mean there are infinite yous? Slightly different, or dramatically so, living other lives, making other choices, fading, flourishing, or floating through stories you'll never know. And what does that mean for identity, for meaning, for destiny? Maybe we're just one note in a symphony of realities. Maybe our universe isn't the universe, but just a universe. A single bubble, floating silently in an infinite cosmic sea. As your mind softens into sleep, let this question drift beside you. If the multiverse is real, then somewhere, somehow, are you dreaming of this? Let's move onward now toward another quiet cosmic mystery, waiting patiently to be imagined. Imagine standing alone in a quiet room, sunlight pouring through a window behind you. You feel its warmth on your back, yet when you turn around, there's no one there. Only your shadow softly trailing behind you. Present but untouchable. Always there but never quite part of you. Now stretch that thought across the cosmos, and ask, what if our entire universe casts a shadow too? Physicists call it dark matter. A mysterious, invisible substance that makes up roughly 85% of the matter in the universe. We can't see it. We can't touch it. It doesn't shine, reflect, or glow. Yet it's there because gravity tells us it is. Galaxies spin faster than they should, stars move as if pulled by unseen hands, and vast structures cling together through forces we cannot see. So, where is this invisible matter hiding? One theory quietly whispers that dark matter may not be from this universe at all. It may be the ghostly imprint of another universe, a shadow universe, interwoven with ours. Not parallel but overlapping, like a second sheet of paper perfectly aligned on top of the first, invisible but still exerting pressure, still touching softly. This idea suggests that dark matter might be ordinary matter, just not in our realm. In this theory, everything from stars to people might exist in this alternate universe, moving through their own version of space, unaware of us just as we are unaware of them. We can't see their world, but we can feel it tug on ours. Some versions even imagine particles that can pass between these realms under rare conditions. A kind of cosmic leakage. A door that only gravity knows how to open. And if such a shadow universe exists, it opens questions too big to hold all at once. Are there galaxies overlaid on ours, turning in silence? Is someone looking at our universe the same way, feeling us as a gravitational whisper, wondering what we are? And if we live in the light, who lives in the shadow? As you drift into sleep, let that thought settle gently. If we only know the universe by what we see, how much more is out there, softly hidden in the things we don't? Let's keep going. There's more, just beyond the veil. Close your eyes and imagine the early universe, not as stars and galaxies, but as an impossibly small speck. Smaller than a grain of sand. A point so tight, so compact that time itself hadn't even begun to tick. Then without warning it happens. A burst, not of sound but of space itself. In a fraction of a second this speck inflates faster than the speed of light. Not into something but into everything. This moment is known as cosmic inflation, and it didn't just stretch the universe. It rewrote reality. But here's where things begin to gently unravel. According to some theories, this rapid expansion didn't stop everywhere at once. Instead, some regions may have stopped inflating while others continued. And those inflating regions may have created their own tiny universes. Bubble after bubble, each expanding, each becoming a cosmos of its own. A quiet chain reaction. Eternal. Infinite. Never-ending. You and I may live in just one of these bubbles. Floating in a larger multiverse like a single snow globe on a shelf of endless glass domes. Each bubble could follow different physical laws. In one, gravity might be stronger. In another, stars never formed. Somewhere out there, perhaps there's a version of you, almost the same but not quite, quietly watching their own stars fade from a different sky. This idea, known as eternal inflation, transforms our universe from everything to just one thing among many. And it whispers of a reality too large to ever fully grasp. The strange part? We may never be able to see these other bubbles. The space between them expands faster than light can travel, quietly separating them forever. Their existence could remain a perfect mystery, possible, plausible, but just beyond reach. And yet, some wonder if subtle clues linger at the edges of our cosmos. Tiny imprints, faint bruises where another bubble might have brushed against ours in the earliest moments. Quiet evidence of a much larger reality. As you drift further into sleep, let this thought carry you. What if your universe, your home, your life, is just one quiet ripple in an infinite sea of possibilities? And if so, what else might be floating out there gently waiting to be imagined? A world that runs in reverse, where time flows backward and everything unfolds in reverse motion. Close your eyes and imagine this. You're watching a glass fall off a table. But instead of shattering, it rises from the floor, perfectly reassembling, floating upward and landing softly in your hand. You watch as spoken words are pulled back into mouths, candles grow taller as flames retreat, and tears roll upward into blinking eyes. In this place, time doesn't flow forward, it flows backward. This is the haunting idea behind the mirror universe hypothesis. A place where the arrow of time doesn't march toward the future, but gently retreats into the past. It's not just science fiction. Physicists have long pondered the mystery of time's direction. Most of the laws of physics work just as well in reverse. Equations don't care if time goes forward or back. But in our world, we feel time push forward. Sunrises, aging, memory. So, what if there's a universe where it's the other way around? In this reversed cosmos, entropy, the tendency of things to move from order to chaos, might shrink instead of grow. Ice forms from puddles. Dust gathers into vases. Lives are unlived, ending with birth and beginning with death. It sounds unnatural, but mathematically it's possible. Some theoretical physicists suggest that when the Big Bang occurred, it might have spawned two universes, ours and a mirror version running in temporal reverse. If that's true, then everything we know, our history, evolution, technology, even thought itself, could have a backward counterpart, gently playing out in a timeline that retreats instead of advances. What would such a reality feel like? Would people experience memories of things that haven't yet happened? Would their goals be to undo rather than create? Or is this place utterly alien, so symmetrical to our own that we could never truly imagine it? And the most delicate, lingering question: if such a universe does exist, are we unknowingly connected? Could tiny decisions here ripple backward through a mirror world in reverse? As you let that thought float through your mind, consider this. If the arrow of time is just a trick of perspective, then maybe reality isn't about which direction we're moving, but that we're moving at all. Let's drift deeper now, into another theory that questions whether we're even alone in our motion through this vast, mysterious cosmos. Close your eyes and imagine the universe as a vast, delicate sheet, paper-thin, yet endless in every direction. You're lying on its surface, like a speck on an infinite trampoline. You feel gravity, light, the passage of time. Everything you've ever known exists on this fragile plane. But what if there's more than one? This is the heart of Brane Cosmology, a quiet, mind-bending theory suggesting that our entire universe may be a membrane or brain floating inside a higher dimensional space. Not just a metaphorical sheet, but a literal surface suspended in dimensions we cannot see. And we may not be alone. Other brains, entire parallel universes, could be gently drifting beside us, separated only by a distance too small and strange to detect. These aren't the multiverses of fiction, each one wildly different. These are sibling universes, sheets like ours, stacked, curled, folded quietly through higher dimensional space. And just like two pieces of cloth fluttering in the dark, sometimes they might touch. Some scientists propose that one such collision between brains could have sparked the Big Bang itself. A massive burst of energy from two universes brushing softly together. A cosmic kiss. And if it happened once, it could happen again. But we wouldn't see these other brains. We wouldn't hear them. Light, gravity, even time may be confined to our own sheet of reality. And yet, there are subtle signs. Tiny gravitational ripples. Strange alignments in the cosmic background. Little hints like shadows behind a curtain, whispering that something might be pressing up against the edges of what we call everything. The idea is haunting. That we're floating, not in empty space, but through a sea of invisible siblings. Universes brushing past us in silence. Some may be cold and empty, others teeming with life, but all of them out of reach. Almost. So as you drift further into sleep, ask yourself this. If our universe is just one of many brains gliding quietly through higher dimensions, how close are we really to the next one? And what might happen if it touches us again? Imagine two immense sheets of paper, floating in an endless, invisible space. Each one represents a universe, quietly stretching out in its own corner of existence. These sheets, known as brains in theoretical physics, are enormous, so vast they hold entire realities. They drift, almost unnoticed, past each other, separated by an unfathomable distance. Yet as they move, they occasionally brush against one another, just for a moment, causing a subtle but profound ripple. Now picture what happens when two of these brains collide. It's not an explosion in the traditional sense. There are no fireworks, no blasts of light. Instead, their momentary contact sends a wave of energy through the fabric of both universes. In that moment, reality is reshaped. New space, time, and matter are born. And just like that, the universe we know began. This is the core of the colliding brain theory. An elegant, mind-bending possibility suggesting that the Big Bang wasn't the beginning of everything, but rather the result of two separate universes colliding, creating the violent burst that led to the creation of our own. It's a quiet, almost serene idea, as if the cosmos is simply a vast collection of ever-expanding realities, all softly brushing against one another, colliding every so often to start anew. If true, this theory challenges the very notion of our universe's singularity and origin. It asks, what if we're not the only universe in existence? What if countless other realities exist, quietly separated by vast spaces of invisible energy, waiting for their moment to touch? And if our universe was born from such a collision, what does that mean for the future? Could our universe collide with another in the far-off future, in a cosmic cycle of creation and destruction forever ongoing? As you close your eyes and float deeper into the mystery, consider this gentle question. If the universe was born from a collision, are we simply the aftermath of a much older, unseen reality? And if that's true, could the universe itself be merely one of many quietly expanding and contracting, like an eternal dance between cosmic brains? Let this thought guide you gently into the next cosmic mystery. Imagine, if you will, standing on the edge of a quiet, vast plain. The stars above seem to stretch endlessly, scattered across the sky in an intricate, seemingly random pattern. Every twinkle, every faint glow, holds the promise of something vast and mysterious. Yet, as you peer deeper into the heavens, something feels strange. Something is just a little off. It's not immediately obvious, but once you notice it, you can't unsee it. It's as if the stars themselves are ever so slightly aligned, quietly following an invisible thread through the cosmic fabric. This subtle anomaly is what scientists have gently referred to as the axis of evil. A quiet, hidden alignment within the cosmic microwave background (CMB) radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. When we first observed the CMB, we expected it to be random, scattered evenly throughout space like the chaotic randomness of drops of water in a puddle. But what we found instead was odd. The radiation, which represents the universe's earliest moments, seems to be aligned in a particular direction, as if some invisible force had subtly arranged it all. This alignment doesn't quite match the expectations of our most well-established cosmological models. It's not supposed to be there. And yet it is. Some scientists gently speculate that this axis might be an optical illusion, just a statistical fluke, or the result of random fluctuations in the data. But as more observations are made, this alignment stubbornly remains, quietly resisting every simple explanation. What if this alignment is something more than just an accident of data? Could it suggest that our universe is not just an isolated, singular entity but part of something larger? Some quietly wonder if this strange axis might be a subtle hint of contact or overlap with another universe, perhaps a neighboring cosmos whose influence quietly seeps into our own. Could we be living on the edge of a multiverse, quietly brushing up against other realms we cannot yet perceive? The axis of evil challenges everything we thought we knew about the randomness of the universe. It whispers a deeper truth, that what we see might not be as independent or isolated as we believe. Maybe, just maybe, the universe is more connected, more tangled with other dimensions and other realms than we've ever dared to imagine. As your thoughts drift softly into the quiet, consider this. If the universe has a hidden alignment, a subtle pattern in its structure, could our lives also be gently shaped by patterns unseen, by alignments we're not yet aware of? And if the universe is aligned in ways we can't fully grasp, what other hidden truths might await discovery, quietly waiting in the cosmic dark? Let's move gently forward into the next soft whisper of mystery. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast, endless ocean with no land in sight. The water stretches endlessly before you, a smooth, uninterrupted expanse. It feels serene, peaceful even until your eyes catch something unsettling. There's an area, quiet, still, and perfectly empty. No water. No waves. Just an eerie silence hanging there in the vastness. In the cosmos, something eerily similar exists. An enormous, almost incomprehensible void in space known as the Great Void. It's not just empty. It's empty, vast and enormous, stretching hundreds of millions of light-years across. And in a universe teeming with stars, galaxies, and cosmic energy, this Great Void is a quiet anomaly. It's almost as if the universe itself had carved out a hole, leaving a gap where there should have been something. Some suggest it's a leftover remnant of an ancient cosmic collision. Two galaxies once together, slowly crashing apart, leaving an empty, silent space where nothing can exist. Or perhaps it's a byproduct of a greater, unknown force, a cosmic imbalance in the distribution of matter. One of the most unsettling theories is that this void could be evidence of dark energy's influence, an unseen force that might be pulling matter apart, creating these silent gaps as it stretches the fabric of space itself. The Great Void in this case might not simply be an accident of space. It could be a cosmic wound, an emptiness deliberately created by the quiet forces at play in the universe. And here's the most unsettling part of all. The Great Void doesn't just remain still. It's actually expanding just as the universe itself is expanding. Slowly but surely, the edges of this vast emptiness are creeping outward, stretching the fabric of space ever further into the unknown. As your mind floats deeper into this unsettling cosmic idea, consider this thought. If the universe can create something as vast and empty as the Great Void, what other spaces, hidden from our sight, might lie quietly beyond the limits of our observation? And as you drift into sleep, ask yourself, is this emptiness truly empty, or is there something waiting to be discovered in the silent void? Let's move softly forward, gently exploring the next cosmic mystery. Imagine standing on the edge of a cosmic cliff, staring into a swirling abyss. The black hole before you doesn't pull, at least not in the way you might expect. It isn't just a devouring void, but a door, softly pulsing, mysterious. As the stars above you seem to distort, something peculiar begins to unfold. Could this churning whirlpool of gravity, this blackened star, actually be more than just the universe's most ominous prison? Could it be a portal? Black holes have long been portrayed as the ultimate cosmic dead ends, with their event horizons acting as impenetrable barriers, trapping everything within. Once something crosses that point of no return, it's thought to be doomed, pulled toward a singularity where time and space collapse into nothing. But what if we've been looking at black holes all wrong? Recent theories gently suggest that perhaps black holes don't end in death. Instead, they might connect to something far stranger. A gateway to parallel realities, alternate dimensions, or even entirely new universes. Imagine if the singularity we've feared for so long isn't the end of the line, but the beginning of something far more profound. These theories draw on the idea that the intense gravity and warped spacetime within a black hole might actually open up pathways to other parts of the multiverse. Perhaps when an object is pulled into a black hole, it doesn't simply vanish. It might travel through a tunnel in spacetime and emerge somewhere else, perhaps even in another universe altogether. This notion is rooted in the idea of wormholes, theoretical passages through spacetime that could connect distant points in the universe, or even different realities entirely. For years we've believed that once inside a black hole nothing escapes. But what if the truth is far stranger and more wondrous? What if, instead of being a cosmic tomb, black holes are actually the universe's most elusive portals, quietly offering glimpses into parallel worlds, quietly bending the fabric of reality in ways we're only just beginning to understand? As your mind drifts deeper into sleep, let this thought linger. What if the next time you look up at the stars, you're not just seeing light from faraway galaxies, but echoes from other realities, whispers from parallel worlds that we've never known? And if black holes truly do hide the keys to alternate universes, what mysteries do they quietly guard, waiting for us to find the way through? Imagine a quiet doorway in the middle of a vast, empty room. At first glance, it seems like any other entrance, leading to unknown possibilities. But as you step through, something extraordinary happens. Instead of stepping into a new place, you find yourself standing in the very same spot you were before. Only now you're holding the key to an entirely new world. This is the strange allure of wormholes, those quiet cosmic shortcuts through space-time. These theoretical passages are thought to connect distant regions of the universe, perhaps even different points in time, forming bridges between vast stretches of space. It's as though the universe itself folded upon itself, making travel across impossible distances suddenly possible. Yet the deeper mystery emerges when we consider the true nature of these cosmic portals. If a wormhole connects two distant places in space, could it also connect two different moments in time? Could these quiet tunnels through the fabric of reality not just be travel shortcuts, but also delicate bridges between parallel timelines? A single decision, a single moment, could be the key that unravels an infinite number of alternate realities, all whispering in the background of our own. But the paradox deepens. Time as we understand it is linear. A past, a present, a future. Yet the very idea of a wormhole invites us to imagine a world where that neat sequence is bent, twisted, and folded. Could we walk through one of these cosmic passages, emerge in the past and alter the present? Or would this act of change, this gentle step backward, create an entirely new timeline, one that quietly follows its own path, entirely independent from the original? This is where the quiet dream of time loops begins to stir. Time loops, where moments repeat themselves endlessly, trapping us in a cycle. If wormholes allow us to bend time, could they also trap us in an endless cycle of repeating decisions, like stepping through the same doorway over and over, each time with a different twist? As you drift toward sleep, consider this. If the universe holds secrets like wormholes and time loops in the deepest folds of space-time, What moments of your life might already be connected to these quiet cosmic pathways? Could the choices we make, the paths we take, be gently affected by something far larger and more complex than we could ever imagine? And as you ponder that thought, let's step softly forward into another mystery, where the boundaries of time and space gently blur. Imagine the cosmos as a vast, infinite river flowing with time and space. At one end you have black holes, cosmic whirlpools, pulling everything inward, devouring matter, light, and even information. The black hole is the silent eater, endlessly absorbing, leaving nothing but an abyss. But now picture the opposite. A place where nothing is drawn in but everything is pushed outward. Imagine a cosmic fountain, constantly spewing matter and energy into the universe, as if reality itself is being reset and renewed. This is the mysterious idea behind white holes, the hypothetical counterparts to black holes. If black holes are the swallowers of the universe, white holes are the spitters. In theory, a white hole would be a region in space where matter and light are expelled, never able to enter. They would be the opposite of black holes in every conceivable way, existing in perfect symmetry. No object would be able to escape from a white hole, just as no object can escape from a black hole once it crosses the event horizon. But unlike black holes, there would be no point of return. No galaxy, no star, no particle would ever be drawn back inside. But here's the truly unsettling part. If white holes exist, where exactly do they come from? Some scientists suggest that white holes might be connected to black holes through a theoretical passage known as a wormhole, a bridge that stretches through the fabric of space-time and connects different parts of the universe, or perhaps even different universes entirely. In this case, the white hole could be a cosmic exit point, spewing the swallowed matter from a black hole into another parallel universe. If this theory holds any truth, it's as if every black hole is a doorway to another reality, an invisible, uncharted mirror where the universe's contents are spit out in a form we've never observed. The implications are profound. What if we, too, are connected to other universes through the quiet mouths of these cosmic mirrors? As you drift deeper into sleep, let the idea of these mysterious white holes unfold gently in your mind. Could the universe really be a vast network of passages, with black holes as gateways to one side, and white holes leading to others, quietly connecting all of existence in ways we have yet to imagine? What would it mean to cross through one of these cosmic doors? Would we even recognize a universe so different from our own, or would it feel strangely familiar? With this thought, we continue to glide toward the next cosmic enigma, where even deeper mysteries softly await. Imagine standing at the edge of a deep, mysterious valley, gazing into the infinite darkness. Across the valley you see another edge, another world, quietly shimmering in the distance. But there's no bridge, no path, no visible way to cross. And yet, somehow something seems to move between them. A whisper, a glimmer, a faint flicker, as if the two worlds are gently, inexplicably connected. In the strange realm of quantum physics, particles do something even stranger than crossing valleys. They don't just travel across space. They slip, vanish, and reappear. This phenomenon is called quantum tunneling, and it allows particles to pass through barriers that, by all logic, should stop them cold. It's as if they can find a secret path, a hidden tunnel, through the very fabric of reality itself. But what if this ability to slip through barriers doesn't just apply to small particles in our own universe? What if, in a universe with infinite possibilities, quantum tunneling could allow particles to escape from our reality and slip into another, entirely different universe? It's a quietly mind-bending thought. If every possible version of reality exists, if there are an infinite number of universes, each with its own laws and outcomes, could particles like tiny travelers find their way from one universe to another? Could a quark or electron drift between these worlds, slipping through hidden doors in the fabric of existence, quietly moving beyond our perception? Some physicists suggest that the multiverse, the idea of multiple parallel universes, might not just be a dream of science fiction. It could be a natural consequence of quantum mechanics. If universes exist in this way, the quantum tunnel might be the bridge between them. A particle doesn't need to travel the entire distance across space. It could simply vanish from one universe, appear in another, and carry with it the echoes of a different reality. As you gently drift into sleep, consider this. If particles can slip between universes, how many unseen realities are quietly brushing up against our own? And what does this say about the hidden paths that connect all things? What if we are all, in some quiet way, connected by the faintest tunneling, our destinies tied to the fabric of the cosmos itself? Let's softly drift into the next cosmic enigma, where boundaries blur, and the impossible begins to feel a little more possible. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror, your reflection staring back at you. You notice every detail: the curve of your smile, the light in your eyes, the way your hair falls gently to the side. But now, imagine the unthinkable. Standing behind you in the same room is another version of yourself. Identical in every way. The same face, the same body, the same movements. But they are not you. This is the essence of the Doppelgänger Paradox. A gentle, unsettling thought experiment that asks, if there's an exact replica of you somewhere, could you ever cross paths? Could you meet yourself in another place, another dimension, or another version of reality? We often think of doppelgangers as just an odd coincidence. A quirky encounter with someone who looks just like us, a chance similarity. But in the realm of theoretical physics and the multiverse theory, things get much stranger. In some interpretations, the universe is so vast and complex that there could be infinite versions of you, each living in a parallel universe, each following a slightly different path. The paradox lies in what happens when two versions of you, each with their own consciousness, exist at the same time, just a thin veil away from each other. Could they interact? Could they even recognize each other for what they truly are? And if you did meet your doppelganger, what would that moment reveal? Would it make you feel more connected to the fabric of reality, or more alienated from your own existence? The idea of encountering your mirror image raises a deeper question about identity itself. If someone else looks exactly like you but has lived a different life, made different choices, and followed a separate path, is that still you? Or is it someone entirely different with the same face but a different soul? As you let this paradox softly drift through your mind, consider this. What would it feel like to meet yourself, and what might that encounter teach you about who you truly are? Would it be a moment of profound self-discovery, or would it leave you with more questions than answers? With that thought in mind, let's gently move forward to explore the next paradox, where the boundaries of reality seem to bend and shift once more. Imagine a quiet moment. You're standing at a crossroads about to make a decision. It's a small one. Maybe you'll take the left road or perhaps the right. Nothing too significant. You choose, and with that one soft motion, the universe moves on. But here's the unsettling thought. What if, at that very moment, something else happened? What if another version of you, in another universe, took the other road, and that choice spun off into a completely different story? Could the universe be splitting quietly and unknowingly, each time you hesitate or choose between two paths? The thought is deeply unsettling. With every decision, the universe isn't just moving forward. It's fracturing into infinite possibilities. This is the quiet beauty of what some scientists call the many-worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. According to this theory, every time you make a choice, a seemingly simple decision, an entirely new reality is created where you made the opposite choice. It's as if every possible outcome is realized, spread across an infinite number of parallel universes, each unfolding in its own quiet, invisible way. Imagine how many versions of you exist across all of these realities, living out the countless variations of your decisions. Each moment you pause, each time you choose one path over another, the universe softly spins out into countless directions, as if it's quietly unfolding a vast, endless web of possibilities. But here's the most intriguing part. What does this mean for free will? If every choice leads to a separate universe, does the idea of choice itself lose its meaning? Is everything, in a sense, already predestined, playing out in the infinite stretch of time and space, where we simply move from one decision to the next, unaware of the countless other versions of ourselves? As you let your mind drift deeper into the mystery of these split decisions, consider this. If each choice creates a new reality, could there be moments when you quietly slip between these realities, unaware of the countless other versions of you living out different lives in different worlds? And if the universe is constantly fracturing in response to our choices, what else? What other quiet secrets might be unfolding in the vast reaches of these unseen realities? Let's continue gently drifting toward the next cosmic enigma waiting for us. Picture this. You're lying in bed, the world around you completely still, your body slowly sinking into the comfort of sleep. Your eyes flutter, and in the silence of the night, your mind begins to drift. First gently and then with a rush of vivid, strange images. You're in a place that feels familiar yet unsettling. You meet someone you've never seen before, yet feel as though you've known them forever. The world around you seems strangely real but slightly off. Then suddenly you wake up. Your breath is quick, your heart racing, and the dream lingers in your mind like a fleeting memory of something important you can't quite grasp. It was just a dream, wasn't it? Or was it something more? There's an idea quietly whispered among some philosophers and scientists that dreams might not be merely random firings of the brain, but something much more profound, a glimpse into other timelines or parallel realities. Some theorists suggest that the boundaries between dimensions might blur when we sleep, allowing us to experience alternate versions of ourselves, different lives we could have lived, or even realities that could have unfolded in entirely different ways. What if the faces, the places, and the feelings you experience in your dreams are not just fragments of your subconscious mind, but brief moments from parallel universes that bleed into your own reality? Could these experiences be flickers of another timeline, peeking through into our world while our conscious mind rests? Imagine for a moment that your dreams are a window, a thin veil between the dimensions. Perhaps you've been someone else, somewhere else, and for a few hours each night you're allowed to remember it, only to wake and forget. Or maybe those fleeting dreams, filled with glimpses of things not quite right, are pieces of a life you almost lived but didn't. Alternate decisions, missed chances, different paths. Could this be your mind's way of experiencing a life you would never know? As you sink deeper into the quiet, let your thoughts soften and wonder. What if these dreams are not just imagination but something more? An invitation into a universe that exists just beyond our reach? Let that question rest as you move forward into the unknown. And who knows, perhaps one day we'll understand just how far those dreams are reaching. Have you ever experienced that odd sensation where you suddenly feel as if you've already lived a moment, even though you know deep down it's brand new? It might happen during the simplest of moments, when you walk into a room, hear a particular phrase, or meet someone for the first time. And yet, for a fleeting second, it feels as though everything in that moment has already happened, like a soft echo bouncing through time. This is déjà vu, the mysterious glitch in the mind system where time folds in on itself, creating an uncanny sense of repetition. But what if this feeling, this quiet moment of déjà vu, is more than just a trick of the mind? What if it's a subtle, soft connection to another version of yourself? Some researchers softly suggest that déjà vu could be a kind of interdimensional sync. A brief moment when different timelines, different versions of reality, overlap for just the briefest instant. It's as if your consciousness is momentarily aligned with a parallel universe, one where another version of you has already lived through that exact moment. The sense of familiarity comes not from memory, but from a soft crossing of paths between different selves. Think of it like standing in two places at once, or walking through a door that leads not only to one room but to several rooms in different realities, all existing simultaneously. For that brief, haunting moment, you've touched another life, another you, and returned to the present with the strange feeling that time has looped, that the universe has folded back upon itself just for you. But how can something so fleeting and ungraspable be explained? Some believe that the mind is simply momentarily misfiring, casting a shadow of the future onto the present. Others, however, wonder if it's a deeper connection to something more cosmic. Perhaps a momentary glimpse into the infinite web of parallel realities, where the boundaries of time and space are not as solid as we think. As you lay back and drift off, ponder this gentle thought. What if those flashes of déjà vu are more than mere memory lapses, but quiet reminders of the many versions of yourself scattered across the infinite threads of the multiverse? And if the boundaries between realities can blur like that, what other hidden, unspoken connections might exist between us all? Let's journey onward into the next cosmic question. Imagine this. You wake up to a world that feels just a bit off. Your morning routine flows like always. Coffee, breakfast, the same songs on the radio. But as the day stretches on, you catch a glimpse of something strange. A moment from the past, something you clearly remember, seems to be missing. Or perhaps it's slightly different than you remember. A friend who should have been there wasn't. A conversation that you thought happened yesterday never did. You feel it, a quiet unease, a faint sense of dissonance. It's as if the timeline of your life has ever so subtly slipped and you didn't notice until now. Could reality be shifting in ways we can't perceive? Could there be something off about the way we experience time itself? This is at the heart of the slipping timeline theory. The idea that, over time, our perception of events could gradually be altered, distorted, or even erased without us ever fully realizing it. It's not a dramatic event, not something that shakes the world at its core. Instead, it's more like the quiet flutter of a butterfly's wings, gently nudging the flow of time in a way that's impossible to trace. What if, as we move through life, entire moments or entire days are quietly shifted, leaving behind only the faintest, most unsettling sense that things aren't quite how we remember them? Could entire timelines, alternate versions of our own reality, be slipping in and out of existence, leaving us with the odd sense that something somewhere has changed but can't be fixed? Consider this. What if there are versions of you, living in slightly different timelines, experiencing small but crucial variations in the way life unfolds? A version where you made a different choice or where certain events took a slightly different turn. Could this slipping of timelines explain why some memories feel just a little too distant, or why certain familiar things seem to have changed without warning? As you let this thought settle softly in your mind, ask yourself this. How often do we truly notice the subtle shifts in our lives, the quiet changes that we can't quite explain? And if the timeline we live in could shift beneath our feet, what would it mean for the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, and what we remember? Let's drift deeper into this mystery, as we softly move toward the next cosmic question that waits just beyond the horizon. Imagine stepping into a time machine, the cold metallic hum of the machine around you. You press a button and in an instant you're hurtling backward through time, far into the past. But here's the unsettling part. As you arrive in that distant time, you notice something strange. Something subtle but unmistakable. This isn't exactly your past. Close but not quite the same. The faces are familiar but not quite yours. The air smells a little different, the light a little warmer. And as you look at the timeline, you realize it. You're not in the past you left behind. You've stepped into another version of reality. A parallel world. This is the essence of a fascinating paradox in time travel. The parallel worlds hypothesis. Could time travel as we imagine it actually require us to move into an alternate timeline? A different version of the past where our actions don't alter the present one? And if so, does that mean each time we travel back we're not changing history but simply observing or interacting with a new branch of reality? One that might mirror the past but always slightly different? Many theories suggest that time travel doesn't lead back to the same past, but instead to a parallel universe. A duplicate of history with one key difference. As you travel to this alternate past, your actions don't change your own timeline. Instead, they ripple outward, influencing another branch, another version of reality that quietly coexists with your own. If this is true, the implications are quietly profound. What happens if, by traveling back, you start a series of events that unfold differently in this parallel world? Could your existence, your life, be one of many, quietly coexisting in a vast, silent web of timelines, each altered by the softest touch of time travelers who cross between them? And what if those parallel worlds could never truly be experienced by you? Could they exist silently floating alongside your own, each unchanged, yet each subtly divergent, forever locked in their own subtle dance with possibility? As you gently drift into sleep, think about this quiet truth. What if time travel didn't just move you back in time, but carried you to a different version of the past, where the world remains almost identical but ever so slightly altered? And if that's true, what does that say about your reality right now? Let's move forward into the next great mystery of the universe. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast, shimmering ocean at twilight. The horizon stretches infinitely, and as the waves rise and fall, they carry with them echoes of the past, whispers of forgotten memories, lives once lived, and dreams never fully realized. Now imagine that these waves are not just the passage of time but something far more mysterious. The potential for lives, consciousnesses, and selves to flow seamlessly across timelines. What if reincarnation isn't just the rebirth of a soul in the same timeline, but rather the quiet crossing of consciousness from one timeline to another? This is the eerie possibility suggested by some of the more unsettling theories of parallel universes. According to these theories, the very nature of existence is not limited to one singular path or timeline, but stretches out into an infinite number of possible realities, each one a subtle shift from the next, each reality a branch in the vast cosmic tree of existence. In this view, the soul might not simply be born again into the same sequence of events. Instead, it could cross over into a parallel timeline, experiencing different lives under different circumstances. Consider this. The choices you make today could ripple out and split into alternate timelines, where each version of you walks a different path. And perhaps when you die in one version, your consciousness gently slips across the boundary into another. Like a leaf caught in the current of a river, drifting between the branches of time. What if those moments of déjà vu, those faint memories of lives you've never lived, aren't just random fragments of the mind? Could they be echoes from these parallel lives, from timelines that are subtly but deeply intertwined with your own? If this is true, then the very concept of past lives could take on an entirely new dimension. Reincarnation wouldn't be about a soul's return to one linear existence, but about the shifting and crossing of consciousness across the ever-expanding fabric of time itself. It might explain the haunting sense of familiarity we sometimes feel when encountering certain places, people, or situations, as though we've already lived them before, not in this life, but in some quiet corner of the multiverse. As you let these possibilities gently settle in your mind, consider this soft, intriguing thought. What if every life you live is part of a greater tapestry woven together across countless timelines, each one shaping who you are, who you were, and who you might be? Could the mystery of reincarnation truly be about the soul's journey through multiple realities? And if this is true, how many versions of you are out there, quietly experiencing different paths in the ever-expanding sea of time? Let's gently move on deeper into this web of cosmic mysteries. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff, gazing out over a vast, serene valley. You know the view is beautiful, but something catches your attention. The way the light falls, the shadows it casts. The trees, the rocks, even the very air seems shaped by the subtle interplay between light and shadow, creating an intricate dance that you can't quite fully understand, yet feel connected to. In the universe, the very fact that we are here pondering our existence creates a mystery, the anthropic principle. Simply put, it asks, do we exist because the universe is exactly the way it needed to be for us to exist, or is there something deeper at play? You see, as we look around us, we notice something truly strange. The laws of physics, the forces that govern everything from gravity to the tiniest particles, seem perfectly tuned for life. If any one of these constants were even slightly different, the universe we know wouldn't exist, or at least life wouldn't exist in the form we understand it. Take the strength of gravity. If gravity were just a tiny bit stronger, stars would burn out too quickly for planets to form. If it were weaker, stars would never form at all. Or consider the electromagnetic force which governs how atoms bond together. If it were just a little different, the molecules that form life as we know it wouldn't exist. It's as if, by some cosmic coincidence, everything is set up perfectly for us to be here. But that feeling of perfect design leaves us with a question. Why? Some scientists believe that we're simply in one of the many universes that could exist, each with different laws of physics, where ours just happens to allow for life. This idea is known as the multiverse theory, where countless other universes are softly bubbling up, some completely uninhabitable, others possibly teeming with life we can't even imagine. Others whisper that perhaps we exist because, in a universe as vast as this one, some version of life had to arise somewhere. Our existence is merely the result of natural selection on a cosmic scale. The universe didn't design us, it simply allowed us to be. But here's the unsettling twist. If we are only here because this universe happens to be one of the few that could support life, what does that mean for the universes we can't see? The ones that don't have the perfect balance we need? Could those other universes be just as real but completely empty, silent and barren because the cosmic conditions were ever so slightly wrong? And what does this say about the universe we live in? Are we just a fortunate fluke, a shadow cast perfectly in the light? As you lay back and let these thoughts settle, think about this. If our existence is a result of the delicate balance of forces, how else might the universe be quietly arranging itself? Perhaps in ways we'll never fully understand? Let's gently move forward, deeper into the cosmic mystery that quietly beckons. Imagine standing in the middle of a vast, silent library, stretching infinitely in all directions. Rows upon rows of shelves, each filled with books, reach endlessly far beyond your sight. The air is still, as if the library itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to explore. But these aren't just any books. These are not written with ink on paper, but with the lives of countless versions of you. Every decision you've ever made, every choice you've ever pondered, exists within these shelves. Each path you could have taken, every fork in the road you've stood before, is quietly written, preserved. In this library, all your possible selves, every you that could have been, exists in perfect shimmering detail. And you stand before this vastness, unable to touch a single one. Why? Because you are simply one page of the book, flipping through the vastness of time and possibility, unaware of the other stories unfolding around you. Each version of you is trapped in its own moment, unknowing of the others that wait silently between the shelves of this infinite archive. This is the heart of the library of infinite selves. A paradox that gently questions what makes this version of you real. What defines you? If every choice splits reality into 1,000 different versions of yourself, living 1,000 different lives, is your current self any more real than those other versions? Are you truly the sum of the decisions you make, or are you merely one possibility quietly resting in the pages of an endless book? And if every decision leads to a new self, then which you is truly the real one? The one who chose this path, or the countless others who quietly never made it? As you drift further into this idea, let the gentle question linger. If every version of you exists, does it even matter which one is reading this right now? What does it mean to be real when every possibility exists in parallel? And if all of your possible selves live forever in this library, could you someday read the book of someone you used to be? Or perhaps someone you will become? Let's journey onward, deeper into the mysteries of who we truly are. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a vast, winding river. The current is gentle yet persistent, carrying everything in its path toward an unseen destination. You've been walking along its banks for hours and you begin to wonder, do you have the power to change the course of this river? Or are you merely following the path it has already set? In many ways, our choices in life feel similar to that river. We think we're choosing freely, deciding which direction to take, which decisions to make, which path to follow. But are we truly free to make those choices? Or are we simply moving with the current, shaped by the experiences and circumstances we've already encountered, the people we've met, and the world around us? This is what philosophers and psychologists have been quietly pondering for centuries. The illusion of choice. Our minds, so often convinced that we're exercising free will, might actually be caught in the web of influence, patterns, and predetermined factors that we cannot see. Take a moment to think about it. How many of your decisions, whether big or small, were influenced by things outside your control? The way you were raised, the culture you were born into, the friends you've surrounded yourself with, the societal expectations that quietly shape your thoughts. All of these forces gently pull you like the current of that river, steering you in certain directions. Now imagine that all your choices, no matter how personal, how deeply felt, were simply the result of the past carefully unfolding before you. You weren't choosing freely. You were just following the lines of a script you didn't even know you were reading. It's a subtle, unsettling thought. The illusion of freedom is something we cherish deeply, but what if it's nothing more than an illusion? What if, instead of making choices, we're simply navigating a timeline already set in motion by everything that came before us? As you settle deeper into this thought, let it rest quietly in your mind. If the illusion of choice governs so much of your life, what does that mean for the moments when you feel you're truly in control? Are we truly free? Or are we, like the river, simply drifting along in a current that was already set in motion? With that lingering question in mind, let's continue forward, softly exploring the mysteries that remain just out of sight. Imagine this. You're sitting quietly reflecting on a moment from your past. A memory so vivid, it feels almost like you're there again. You can smell the air, feel the warmth on your skin, and hear the soft whispers of voices you once knew. But then something strange happens. It's as if for just a moment you're no longer just remembering. You are there. You're both present in the now and somehow somewhere else in your past. You can't explain it, yet you feel it. This soft, eerie sensation is at the heart of the consciousness overlap theory. A quiet, unspoken idea that suggests that our awareness might not be confined to just this version of us, locked into our present moment. Instead, it might stretch, bleed, or subtly connect with other versions of ourselves, elsewhere in time, across dimensions, or even parallel realities. This theory gently whispers that there could be moments when your consciousness momentarily overlaps with other versions of yourself. You might not see them, but what if you feel them? An unexplainable sense of déjà vu, a haunting familiarity with a place or a person you've never met, could be the quiet ripples of that overlap. What if those unexplainable moments are not random at all, but a soft, subconscious brush of awareness from another version of you, one that's living a slightly different life in a different thread of time or space? It's as though we're not isolated islands, but rather part of an infinite sea of versions of ourselves, quietly shifting in and out of sync. Some theories in quantum mechanics suggest that all possibilities exist simultaneously, each timeline playing out like an endless web of potential futures. Could our awareness occasionally brush against these other threads, quietly whispering to us in the form of dreams, instincts, or those fleeting moments of déjà vu? As you gently drift towards sleep, let this idea settle into your mind like a soft echo. If your awareness can stretch beyond the boundaries of your own reality, what could that mean for your connection to the universe as a whole? Could your thoughts, your dreams, even your very being be quietly interwoven with an infinite number of possibilities? And if other versions of you exist, experiencing lives you'll never know, what quiet stories do they hold? And how do they echo back to you? Let's move softly toward the next cosmic enigma, where more mysteries quietly await. Imagine the quiet hum of a machine, softly ticking away in a distant room. It's hard to hear, but there's an undeniable rhythm to it. A pulse that quietly suggests something beyond the surface, something far deeper than what we can see. Now imagine this machine doesn't just operate in the world you know. It exists within another world entirely, within a reality of its own, quietly reflecting and amplifying the existence of a universe we've never touched. This is the essence of the simulated universes in other universes theory, a thought-provoking and unsettling proposition. If we live in a simulated reality, as some suggest, might it be that these simulations don't just exist in our universe but within others as well? Could our simulated world be running quietly inside another, nestled within yet another simulation, creating a cycle of simulated realities, each one layered over the next? This concept gently plays with the boundaries of what's real and what's not. It raises the question: if an entire universe can be simulated, can the simulation itself be contained within a greater structure? A nested reality forever spiraling inward? It's as though we're each trapped inside a dream within a dream, unable to wake up because we never even realized we fell asleep. The implications are quietly staggering. If simulations can run within one another, what does that mean for the fundamental structure of the multiverse? What if our reality is not only simulated by an advanced civilization but also a small part of something even more complex, more profound? Could we be living in a simulation designed not just by someone else, but by something else? Something far beyond our comprehension? Now think about this. What if each simulated universe not only runs within another but is also influenced by the whims of the layer above? What if the creators of these simulations are themselves part of yet another reality, influenced by forces beyond their control? Could every step we take be gently guided by something more profound, a universal set of laws we are yet to understand? As your mind floats further into this mystery, let this question settle softly within you. If our simulated universe is part of a greater tapestry, who or what created the first simulation? Could the answer be waiting just outside of our reach, quietly hidden in the shadows of this never-ending cycle? With that thought, let's drift forward into the next mystery, quietly unraveling the threads of reality itself. Imagine standing at the center of an infinite forest. As far as your eyes can see, towering trees stretch upward, their leaves shimmering in the soft light. But when you look closer, something strange catches your eye. Every tree, no matter how small or large, seems to mirror the one beside it, down to the smallest twig and leaf. This pattern of repetition, a never-ending dance of the same shapes within each other, stretches on infinitely, a fractal pattern repeating over and over. Now imagine this fractal doesn't just describe a forest. Imagine it describes the very structure of the universe itself. What if the universe and all others that might exist are part of an endless series of repeating patterns, where each universe is a miniature reflection of the one before it? Universes within universes spiraling out infinitely. This is the Fractal Universe Hypothesis, a theory that whispers at the edges of cosmology, suggesting that reality itself might operate like a vast, never-ending fractal. Every universe could contain smaller universes within it, each governed by the same laws, repeating in patterns that stretch across infinite scales. The boundaries between them might blur, making our reality just one loop in an eternal self-similar structure, constantly folding in on itself. Could it be that our universe is just one small bubble in an infinite fractal structure of existence, endlessly repeating with variations but remaining tethered to the same basic forms? Or could our universe itself be a part of a multiverse, where countless other realities are nested within us, each holding its own set of rules, dimensions, and infinite possibilities? As your thoughts settle into this cosmic possibility, consider this question. If the universe truly behaves like a fractal, constantly repeating and expanding into new realms, what might that mean for time, for space, and even for the way we experience life itself? And if every pattern is bound to repeat infinitely, then what does that imply about our place in this endless, unfolding design? Could it be that the universe we know is simply a small reflection of a grander, eternal cosmic dance? With this thought, let's continue, drifting softly through the infinite possibilities ahead. Imagine a world where every decision you make splits into countless possibilities, each creating a new version of yourself, each taking a different path. In one reality you chose to stay home tonight, in another you ventured out. In one you spoke your truth, in another you remained silent. Every choice, every path, branches out like the roots of a vast tree. And somewhere quietly these versions of you, each living their own life, exist parallel but separate like distant stars flickering in the same sky. Now imagine those versions of you suddenly coming together. Every decision, every fork in the road collapsing into one singular existence. All those different lives, those different choices, merging into a single you. The weight of every moment you lived in countless realities converging in a single instant. You feel the joy, the regret, the triumph, the sorrow, all at once. Every life you ever could have lived now folding into your present self. This is the essence of the final merge theory. It's the idea that, at the end of time, or perhaps at the end of existence, every version of you from every possible timeline collapses into a single unified consciousness. You become the sum of everything you could have been all at once. But how would you bear that? Would you even recognize yourself anymore, surrounded by infinite echoes of your choices? Could you feel the weight of all those infinite lives, each one a thread pulling at your identity, creating a complex web of being? Some say this merging would be a kind of awakening, a moment of clarity where everything finally makes sense. All your experiences, every path you took and didn't take, harmonizing into one symphony of existence. Others quietly wonder if it would be overwhelming, too much to bear, like trying to hold every memory of every person you've ever met in one breath, one heartbeat. And perhaps the most unsettling thought of all, if all these versions of you could merge into one, would you still be you? Or would the essence of who you are quietly dissolve into the vastness of all you could have been? As you gently drift into sleep, consider this. If every version of you exists somewhere in the infinite expanse of the cosmos, waiting to converge into one, what part of you is truly you? And what happens when all versions of ourselves meet at the intersection of eternity? Let's float on together into the next gentle enigma, quietly waiting to be uncovered.